WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany. And guess what happened? We just recently got the 7-year-old Knob Creek Rye. Yay! So this bottle I bought in 2022. It's the old bottle, no age statement. Now, Knob Creek Rye has been in the market since 2011. So it's always been 50%. It's always been no age statement. Now, the people out there in the whiskey community have said it's usually been between anywhere in 4 and 6.5 years. And then suddenly, at least for me, in March of 2023, Knob Creek actually brought out an age statement. Now, that's kind of cool. Now, the first thing that surprised me the most was, okay, there's an age statement. Why didn't we have an age statement before? But hey, why not? And then I really thought about the price a little bit. When it first arrived on the market, 2011, the average price for the Knob Creek Rye, no age statement, 50%, was around $38. 11 years later, Jim Beam has given us now not just an age statement, 7 years, which is great for rye, but they've actually have a recommended retail price of 36 euros. Now, if we adjust for inflation, this bottle should be, after 11 years, around $50. And instead, it actually went down in price after 11 years, and we have an age statement. Can I applaud Jim Beam on that? That is kind of cool, to be honest. All right, so they did something similar. So I have here a bottle of Knob Creek bourbon, Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, small batch, patiently aged. 2016, Beam dropped the age statement. And we whiskey geeks were not very, very pleased with that. Luckily, 4 years later, they brought back then the age statement, and it should be and will continue to be Knob Creek 9-year-old. All right, so before 2016, it was 9-year-old. After 2020, at least in the States, it was a 9-year-old. Over here in Germany, we're always about a year behind. So this happened March 2023. It's now March 2024 when I actually am now doing my review. We're about a year behind with products like that, but hey, no problem. Over here in Germany, this is still online for 36 euros. It's not sold out everywhere yet. And they now have the new one. This is 37 euros. So €1 more. All right. So we do have the nice bottle now here with the, it looks a little bit like the rock formation. This was the old bottle we used to have with the rye as well. It was just flat. It looked like a little bit of a flask moment. And I really do love how they put the wax and that fiberglass strip here. You can just pull it off, and it's one of the best systems here for opening bottles that I know of. So even that. So here's I just did that a moment ago. Here we have the fiberglass strip under the wax. Doesn't crumble. It's there. It's good. It's wonderful. Love it. Now the mash bill. Jim Beam has never officially disclosed the mash bill of their rye. We know it's a straight rye whiskey, so we know it has to be at least 51%. And most people agree this is a 51% rye. So we have a lot more corn than, let's say, other products that are rye out there. Good. Which is not bad. So if you're a bourbon drinker just slowly getting to rye, this might be actually a thing for you. Now, this is 50%. One of the questions I sometimes ask myself is, why does Beam not use bottled and bond? At least with the rye. Now, bottled and bond has a few requirements. It has to be 50% alcohol. Ta-da! Has to be at least 4 years old. Ta-da! It has to be made in one distilling season. So that is either January to June or July to December. Maybe that's the problem. They're mixing vintages and seasons together. So there might actually be 8-year-old juice in here as well as 7-year-old. Could be. And the most important thing is it has to be made in one single distillery. Now, straight bourbon does not have to be made in one single distillery. It can be made in 20 different distilleries. As long as they're in the same state, no one cares. Bottled and bond, one distillery, one distiller, one distilling season, 50% ABV at minimum 4 years. So, and everything else that's important for rye, for bourbon, or whatever other product you have as a straight. So that is maybe the reason. But it does say predominantly Claremont, Kentucky here. So you can't miss that. Says here, Kentucky Straight Rye Whiskey, distilled and bottled by Jim B. Beam Distilling Company, Claremont, Kentucky. So distilled by. Good. Let's look, smell, taste, evaluate. It might just be my imagination, but I have the feeling this is like a half of a hue darker. Might just be a little bit longer time in those casks. I don't know. On the nose, this is actually very good on the nose. It's got more of a brown sugar sweetness. It's got the rye moment. It's got a little bit of granola bar going on in here. And it's got a little bit of an herbal, herbaceous moment. Over here, the 7-year-old, it's got less of the brown sugar, a little bit more of the wood, and a tiny little bit more of I call it dill, and even a little bit of mustard seed moment going on here. I don't see anyone giving mustard seed as a official tasting note on anything. So, someone here, who is his name? What's his name? So we have Jonah Flicker actually wrote here, the old Knob Creek was great, but this is even better, with notes of leather, vanilla, tobacco, and dried fruit on the palate, mingling with a bit of black pepper and baking spices, but still retaining its nice sweetness. The company does say, Beam Suntory, that Knob Creek rye is made in a pre-prohibitionary style. That is a vague term if you ask me. But hey, I don't see anything on the label anymore about that. Here, interesting enough, we have that nice, at least for Europe over here. This actually, in the IWSC, the International Wines Spirits Competition, in 2016, received the gold. And it says here, best rye whiskey. What does it say? World? Outstanding world's best rye. That's kind of cool. All right, let's try these. I think this is going to be a little bit sweeter, but that's good often. Cheers. That's a good product. Wow, it's got some spice, got some baking spices, got a little bit of heat. That 50% really does shine here. We got the sweetness, have the rye, a little bit of tobacco, vanilla. Very, very nice. For 36, 37 euros over here, not bad at all. The new 7-year product. Cheers. At first, it has less heat, has more creaminess. It's got less sweetness, but more of almost an astringent moment, just light. It has more wood without actually being woody. I like this better. Now, this is for me a solid B minus, maybe even on a good day B. This is a B minus, on a bad day a C plus plus. Both of these whiskeys for 37, 36, 38 euros, C to C plus for value for money. Now, imagine you had $40, 40 euros. It's going to be much different for me. What would you buy as a rye from the US? I can get Jim Beam rye, which is basically this, just watered down to 40% for 24 euros instead of 38. If we're going to make cocktails, just use that. It's cheaper. We have the Jack Daniel rye, not the single barrel rye, the normal rye with 45% at the moment for 26 euros. We have the Jack Daniel's Bonded Rye, brand new over here, 29 euros. I have a yellow, Rebel Yell small batch rye over here for 29 euros. Redemption Rye, I still have 29. Bullet 95 rye is 32 euros now. Wild Turkey rye with 40.5% ABV, so the 81 is 32. Rittenhouse, 50%, 35 euros. Wild Turkey 101 rye, 38 euros. And now we go over here and we have 38 euros 90 at the shop I'm looking at. I can actually get Woodford Reserve rye for 38 euros 90 as well. And then we're moving over the 40 euro mark. So the Jack Daniel's single barrel rye, I don't even have it here, 41, 42 euros. What would I buy for my 40 euros, my $40? I think I would go for the Woodford Reserve rye. I really, really, really enjoy that. That is so good. Yeah. Question, what would you buy? You got $40, 40 pounds, 40 euros. Doesn't always work out perfectly. What would you buy? Would you buy the Knob Creek 7-year-old, or would you buy Woodford Reserve or Rittenhouse or Wild Turkey? What would you go for? Once again, thank you very much, Beam Suntory, for giving us a wonderful product with an age statement at a fantastic price, I think. All right, so you haven't increased the price, at least over in Europe, basically for the last 10 years for the product that we have, and that's kind of awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here. What is your favorite rye whiskey, with or without an age statement, with or without 50%? You can't go wrong with this. See you real soon. Don't forget to share, like, and tell others. Bye-bye.